It's like you're too busy driving to stop for gas, right? Like, you've got to refuel at some point, and evenings are such a good time to do that. Miss 11 has been staying out later and later a few nights a week for certain activities, because the older she gets, the more she's involved in some things. And holy cow, it is taking a toll. Last night, I finally told her goodnight and just collapsed into bed like this dead mom. Do you know that feeling? I know exactly what helps me feel human again after that bedtime burnout, you know? And I just have not been doing it consistently, and it makes bedtime feel so much harder. It ebbs and flows through the seasons, right? Like our kids, when they're babies, we're so sleep deprived. Bedtime almost doesn't even exist because they're just sleeping and awake and feeding and then sleeping. You know, like it's this constant thing. And then as they get older, you know, you can kind of get into a good rhythm, have a bedtime routine. And it's just been so interesting because as my kids have gotten older, it's this whole new world of like, dang it, I can't just tuck them in at 7:30 and call it a day. Like, I have to figure out what this looks like. Because for a really, really long time, that's been the case. 7:30, it's bedtime. We do the same thing every single night. It winds us all down. Oh, and it just doesn't work anymore. Usually, I tuck them into bed, and I just need some me time before I even want to have some time with Derek. You know, like, evenings are a great time to have quality time with your spouse, but I need to like kind of feel human again after such a long mom day. I don't know. Am I the only one? So I usually just have my whole evening routine that is so suited to me, so calming, so relaxing, kind of tap back into myself. I light a candle in the bathroom. I like to shower at night. That's just my preference. And so I just like turn on my music. I like Nora Jones at night, or I don't know, there's a few different playlists that I like. But I turn on some music that I love, light a candle because I like that, you know, dimmer lighting, and I just shower. I wash my face, I brush my teeth, like I do all those things, and then I'm ready for some time with Derek or to sleep, like whatever that evening brings. But man, the bedtime hour for me, like I'm just out of energy by then. I'm definitely more of a morning person for sure. I mean, I would say I really turn into a pumpkin in the evenings. And I'm not talking late evenings, pretty early evenings. And so it's just my way to like re-center myself a little bit and to remember who I am, which sounds so dramatic, but I think as moms, like, we just lose that. You know, we kind of can get swallowed up into motherhood and just the daily grind. To-do list always running through your head, you know, the kids always needing me. Like, it's really draining and exhausting to just do it over and over and over again. So come bedtime, it can just feel so just like, okay, another day done. And it's just like you're just in this machine, you know, like keeping the house running for everybody. But really, we're people too. And so it took me a really long time to really figure out how I could tap back into that. Not only feeling human, but like feeling like myself, you know? Just really figuring out how can I unwind at the end of the day? How can I end the day on a positive note? How can I gear myself up for sleep in a positive way? so that I can ideally wake up in the morning feeling energized and ready. And I will say, part of that for me is getting the house in a certain place. So I do put my kitchen to bed most nights, not every night, I'm not perfect, but most nights we do a dinner cleanup, but not always like perfectly, because, it's kind of moving on to the next thing of getting kids ready for bed. I do still have a 5-year-old, and so he needs help, and he does have an earlier bedtime. But I at least, even if it's after the bedtime chaos, it's not chaos always, after the bedtime rhythm, then I do put my kitchen to bed. Because for me, that's a gift to myself to kind of signal to my brain it's time to rest. The job is done, even if it's not. That, by the way, when I say put my kitchen to bed, it doesn't mean spotless. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it means the dishwasher is running, so we're gonna have clean dishes in the morning, because that's kind of a disaster if we don't. And it's just like such a gift to my future self when I do that, and even my present self, because we can actually turn that kitchen shutdown ritual, into something that's meaningful, that actually does help us after bedtime, making that kind of shift into, okay, I get a little bit of me time. I mean, I can't imagine living life without bedtime boundaries. I do have really legit bedtime boundaries with my kids, because I just can't stay on all the time. And like I could, we'll say, I don't want to, and it's not honestly serving my family for me to either. It just isn't. So I've realized having some pretty clear, this is what's allowed, this is what's not allowed. They are more than welcome to get out of their bed. They are more than welcome. Hang out in their room, go to the bathroom. Truly, like whatever they want is totally fine. They just are not allowed to disturb my peace unless it's an emergency. Because it's just not helpful for anybody. I mean, there was a while where I felt like, oh, I'm a bad mom, because I should be available to them all the time. But when I put myself in that situation, I was really resentful. I was not pleasant to them. Like, I wasn't patient and loving and kind when they would get out of bed, because I was just done. I was ready to be done. The next day, I was just more, I don't know, like I just wasn't showing up as my best when they were disturbing my peace in the evenings. And so it just became something that's just now a very clear boundary. If they get out of bed, I won't be giving them my attention. And I think actually that stemmed from the silent return to sleep method, which is what you can do. You can read about it in books, which is what you can do to basically train your child not to get out of bed anymore, because it's just, you're not giving them that attention. So anyway, that is a big part of it for me, because maybe, it'd be easy to feel like, oh, I could never have an evening to myself. Like, that's not real for me. It totally could be. Like, we can implement and create the family culture that we want. And that's, to me, what really invites the spirit into our home even, is when we are leading and when we are wise about our limitations, when we are using the resources we've been given, which are all of the wonderful things that we can bless our family with. A big part of that is our energy. And if we just end every day just dead by the end of the day, like I have been lately, that's a really hard way to run a household, because you are just kind of running on fumes. It's like you're too busy driving to stop for gas, right? Like, you've got to refuel at some point, and evenings are such a good time to do that for me personally. It's a really good time to reset yourself, to think about the day, maybe reflect on some gratitude, maybe, think about some win that you had. You can pray, you can read your scriptures. I do that in the morning. I'm just so tired. I just do things that really kind of lift me a little bit, So that's just me though. And that's why I always say, don't mother like me, mother like you. God made you in a very unique way, and that's what you get to take into account when you're figuring out how to feel human again after bedtime or any of the things in motherhood. So do not mother like me, mother like you.